Welcome to the stories on Echoes of Revenge. Step into a world where love turns dangerous, revenge feels inevitable, and every story drags you deeper into the shadows of desire, betrayal, and the human heart. Let's begin today's story. The real estate alert came through during my morning surgery at Seattle General. New listing, 742 Shoreline Drive, San Diego. $3.2 million. Oceanfront estate, motivated sellers, quick close preferred. My beach house. The one I'd bought 18 months ago after selling my medical device company for $190 million. I stepped out of the OR and called my property manager, Carlos. Dr. Reeves, thank God. Your parents were here yesterday with a realtor. They had paperwork, listing agreements, power of attorney documents. They said you'd authorized a sale and were unreachable due to surgery schedules. I told them I needed confirmation, but they insisted everything was legitimate. I authorized nothing. That property is solely mine. I suspected as much. There's an open house scheduled for Sunday. Your mother's been posting about it on Facebook, celebrating the sale, talking about what they'll do with the money. I pulled up my mother's Facebook while still in my scrubs. Big news. Selling our gorgeous San Diego beach house. Open house Sunday, January 4th. The market is hot and we're ready for our next chapter. Beach with umbrella money bag, hashtag real estate, hashtag beach life, hashtag blessed. Our beach house. They were claiming ownership of my $3.2 million property. I called my attorney, Richard Foster. Richard, my parents fraudulently listed my San Diego property. Forged documents, scheduled open house, the works. Amanda, that's serious real estate fraud. We're talking felony charges. I don't care what charges they face. Stop the sale. I'll file emergency injunctions and alert San Diego authorities. I'll also contact the title company. Once they verify true ownership, this listing dies. I checked the full MLS listing. Professional photos of my home. My custom kitchen, my office with medical journals visible, even my personal bedroom. The description read, sellers relocating for family reasons. Pristine condition. Professionally maintained, ocean views. Reduced for quick sale. The listing agent was Sandra Mitchell from Prestige Coastal Realty. Her profile boasted $60 million in annual luxury sales. She just committed fraud. I called her directly. Prestige Coastal, Sandra Mitchell. Ms. Mitchell, I'm Dr. Amanda Reeves. You're listing my property without authorization. The people who hired you forged ownership documents. I'm reporting this fraud immediately. I'm sorry, Dr. Reeves, but I have documentation from Mr. and Mrs. Reeves showing joint ownership. Check the county deed. You'll find only my name. My parents have zero ownership rights. Those documents are forgeries. I'll need to verify this. You should have verified before listing. My attorney will contact you within the hour. If you proceed with Sunday's open house, you'll be named in the criminal case. Criminal case? Felony real estate fraud. Pull the listing now. I texted my parents. Remove the fraudulent listing immediately or face prosecution. My father called instantly. Amanda, there's been a misunderstanding. We're helping family. Your brother needs capital for his restaurant, and the house sits empty most of the year. That house is mine. You forged ownership documents. That's fraud, Dad. We were going to split the proceeds fairly. After helping David, everyone benefits. You were going to split MY money from MY house? You have no ownership to split. You have forged paperwork and a felony charge coming. Don't be dramatic. I'm being accurate. Richard is filing criminal complaints now. If you show up Sunday, you'll be arrested for trespassing. He hung up. Hold up. The MLS listing disappeared within 2 hours. Sandra's broker called Richard in full panic mode. They'd suspended her and were cooperating with authorities to limit liability. But my parents weren't stopping. My mother called that evening. Amanda, you're overreacting. We found a buyer offering $3.15 million cash. That's real money that could change David's life. Think about your brother for once. I'm thinking about the sister whose property you're stealing. We raised you. We sacrificed for your education. You paid for undergrad. I paid medical school with loans I'm still repaying. And even if you'd funded everything, that doesn't grant you ownership of property I purchased at 34 with my own money. David needs this. David can get business loans. He doesn't get to profit from you committing fraud against me. He hung up crying. Richard called Wednesday. We have complications. Your parents secured a buyer, tech executive from San Francisco. He put down $50,000 earnest money, and your parents deposited it in their personal account. They've already spent $12,000 on a restaurant lease for David. So they've stolen from me and defrauded the buyer? Correct. Since the buyer wired funds from California, that's wire fraud. Federal jurisdiction. Get the FBI involved. This isn't family drama. This is systematic fraud. The San Diego DA and FBI are both investigating now. But Amanda, your family will never forgive this. They hate me enough to steal $3 million. How much worse can it get? By Friday, the FBI's San Diego office was investigating wire fraud. The DA was pursuing forged documents and real estate fraud. Sandra Mitchell had surrendered her license voluntarily. And my parents still plan Sunday's open house. Friday evening, my mother posted on Facebook. Despite some bumps, our open house is still on for Sunday. This property won't last long. DM for the address. House with garden sparkles. Some bumps. Federal fraud charges were, some bumps. I forwarded the post to Richard and FBI Special Agent Michael Torres. They coordinated a response. If my parents proceeded with Sunday's open house, they'd be arrested on site. Saturday morning, my brother David called, furious. Amanda, what's wrong with you? Mom and Dad are helping me start a business and you're threatening them with prison? Over a house you never use. They're stealing my property. Your restaurant doesn't justify federal crimes. It's not stealing when it's family. That house just sits there. With my name on the deed. My mortgage. My taxes. Your dreams don't transfer ownership, David. You're destroying this family over money. They're destroying themselves by committing felonies. Big difference. Sunday morning, I flew to San Diego. Richard met me at the airport with Detective Sarah Chin from SDPD and Special Agent Torres. We drove to my property together. Carlos had been monitoring. Dr. Reeves, your parents arrived an hour ago. They brought catering, flowers, champagne. About 20 people are here. Buyers, neighbors, people your mother invited from Facebook. Good. Let's end this publicly. Revelation. We walked in at 1:20 p.m. My parents were in the living room with well-dressed couples admiring ocean views through floor-to-ceiling windows. The outdoor space is perfect for entertaining, my father was saying. We've loved this home, but it's time to, Amanda? The room went silent. My mother froze, champagne flute halfway to her lips. Everyone, I'm Dr. Amanda Reeves, the actual owner of this property, I announced clearly. My parents don't own this house. They forged documents to sell property they have no legal right to. You're all witnessing real estate fraud. Confused murmurs erupted. A couple near the kitchen backed toward the exit. Detective Chin stepped forward, badge displayed. Patricia and Robert Reeves, I'm Detective Chin, San Diego Police. We need to discuss fraudulent documents filed with the county recorder. My father's face flushed red. This is ridiculous. We're selling our own property. Property you don't own, Agent Torres interrupted, showing FBI credentials. I'm Special Agent Torres, FBI. You're under investigation for wire fraud, specifically accepting $50,000 in earnest money for property you cannot legally sell. The remaining guests fled immediately. Curious neighbors suddenly remembered urgent appointments. Within minutes, only family law enforcement Richard and Carlos remained. My mother started crying. We were trying to help David. Amanda has millions, she'd never even miss this house. I'd never miss a $3 million asset? Are you hearing yourself? You're a doctor. You make plenty. Your brother needs help with his dream. David needs business loans in reality. Not stolen property proceeds. Richard produced documentation. Mr. and Mrs. Reeves, this is the original deed. See the owner? Amanda Reeves. Only Amanda Reeves. The joint ownership documents you gave Sandra Mitchell are forgeries. Forensic analysis confirms you fabricated them. My father collapsed onto the sofa. We were desperate. David's restaurant is his last shot at success. Not my problem. Definitely not justification for federal fraud. Detective Chin began reading Miranda rights. Patricia and Robert Reeves, You're under arrest for real estate fraud, forgery, filing false documents. As Detective Chin handcuffed my mother, she looked at me with absolute hatred. I hope you're satisfied. Having your parents arrested. Destroying your brother's future. All over money you don't even need. All over my money. My property. You destroyed yourselves when you chose felonies over asking permission. Agent Torres continued, you're also facing federal wire fraud charges. The buyer wired earnest money from out of state based on your fraudulent claims. That's federal jurisdiction with potential prison time. My father's voice was hollow. You're really doing this? Your own parents. You really stole from me. Your own daughter. Don't expect sympathy for consequences you created. The title insurance company representative arrived as police were processing my parents. She'd been coordinated by Richard to arrive during the open house. Dr. Reeves? I'm Karen Williams from Coastal Title Insurance. We've completed verification. You are absolutely the sole owner of this property. Mr. and Mrs. Reeves have no ownership stake whatsoever. Their documentation was entirely fraudulent. She said it loudly enough for the lingering neighbors to hear. Perfect. Resolution. My parents spent 14 hours in custody before my uncle posted $80,000 bail. Federal charges were filed. Wire fraud, forgery, filing false documents, theft by deception. The defrauded buyer sued for his earnest money plus damages. My parents liquidated retirement accounts to repay $50,000 plus legal fees and interest. David's restaurant never happened. The lease my parents had partially funded with stolen money was voided when they couldn't provide remaining capital. The criminal case took 7 months. My parents ultimately pleaded guilty to reduced charges. 1 count wire fraud, 1 count forgery. Sentences: 2 years probation each, $95,000 in fines, full restitution of my legal costs, $89,000, and 1,000 hours community service each. No prison time but permanent federal convictions on their records. Sandra Mitchell's real estate license was permanently revoked. Prestige Coastal paid $65,000 in fines to California's Real Estate Commission for inadequate ownership verification. My family cut contact completely. No calls, no emails, no Christmas cards. David sent one text, "Hope the house was worth destroying your family." I sold the beach house a year later for $3.7 million and bought property in Costa Rica instead, somewhere my family couldn't find or try to steal. The title insurance company's appearance during the open house was an accident. Richard had coordinated their arrival for maximum impact. Multiple witnesses heard official confirmation that my parents were frauds. The FBI documented everything. The DA built an ironclad case. The federal conviction was inevitable. My parents gambled that family meant immunity from consequences. That my wealth was their emergency fund. That I'd forgive theft because we shared DNA. The federal court proved otherwise. Property rights don't pause for family desperation. Ownership requires legal documentation, not parental declaration. And fraud carries consequences regardless of motivation. The title insurance company confirmed my sole ownership in my living room, during their fraudulent open house, in front of their potential buyers and the FBI. Their commission checks needed criminal defense attorneys instead of deposit slips. Harsh, perhaps, but accurate. Absolutely. Because theft is theft even when the criminals are your parents. And federal law doesn't care about family drama.